I have filed my papers to run for the Senate seat of Senate District 67, following in the footsteps of Senator Mimua. And I filed last Friday, and I'm very pleased to have started my campaign. It is in the infant stages of a campaign. I've got a campaign manager. I've got campaign co-chairs now. We are starting up the process of getting this movement going.
You've got campaign co-chairs in 1 week?
I've got 3 campaign co-chairs in 1 week.
And
so
they are?
I've got Kong Chi Vang, who is an old friend of mine who works for Social Security and is a leader with the Lao Vets. I've got Dan Bostrom, city council person from the Hillcrest area in the northern part of the Senate District, who is once again an old friend and sergeant from the St. Paul Police Department, and dad to one of my best friends, Dan Bostrom. And then I've got Ronnie Patterson, who is a minister, runs the New Hope Baptist Church over in the Railroad Island area of St. Paul, a colleague who has worked with me on SAGA, our Stop Armed Gang Assaults, and has done some wonderful work with a group we call the Shades of Praise, which is an interdenominational, intergender, interracial choir group that we brought to St. Paul that I think really spoke volumes about what's important in our community. I have some goals that I think are really important that being senator will allow me to achieve. I started out in police work to serve. That's really the values that I've had for 33 years, is the idea that being of service is the most important thing that a person can do. As I got ready to leave the police department, this opportunity to serve at a different level just opened up. And I'm a big believer. One of my catchphrases people know me of is to say carpe diem, which is Latin for seize the day. I heard about Mimua deciding not to run again. I had a number of friends and business associates and community leaders who said, we think you could be good at this. And as I sat and thought about it, the idea that I could help work on jobs, the idea of bringing the greatness back to the East Side in terms of economic development. One of the things that I know, and I know this probably closer than anybody else, we've been working with a group of young East Side men who have been on the other side of the law, let's say. We got them jobs last May, and in 1 year, we have not had them involved in a shooting. We have not had them involved in any narcotics trafficking. We have not had them involved in any robberies. We have not had them involved in any domestic violence for 1 year. I know that jobs are just that important to the development of young men. Taking young boys and turning them into real men, you need jobs. And in order to have jobs on the East Side, we need to have a leadership that's going to help draw businesses and big businesses to this area. The second thing that I really want to pursue is I want to continue the work I started on domestic violence. The idea of working on VAWA issues or violence against women issues, really expanding what I did as the St. Paul chief. For 10 years, we've been working on domestic violence, and we've seen a 33% reduction in domestic violence, and we've seen an 80% reduction in domestic homicide in St. Paul. What would that look like if we made that statewide? How could we make that more effective? And even on the East Side, which has still got some real pockets of domestic violence, I want to know, what did we miss? From a policy perspective, what could we do better? But beyond domestic violence, there's child abuse and rape and all those other issues around women's rights that I think are really important. I've got 4 daughters, and so women's rights are very important to me. I want my daughters to be able to walk outside, to go out on dates, to marry, and to do that without fear and without worry. And so that's very important to me. And the last issue is really the issue around immigration. The recent issues that have the legislation out of Arizona and some of the talk of having similar legislation out of the Minnesota legislature troubles me greatly. I come from a background where I know that this city its greatness has been fueled by immigration, whether it's the Germans and the Irish that immigrated here, a century ago, or the Somalis that live in Battle Creek, or the Hmongs that make up almost a third of the population over here, the blacks that have immigrated here from Gary, Indiana, and Chicago. Immigration is an important part of what makes St. Paul and makes the East Side great. And the idea that we could have anyone in the legislature try and take that away is just horrifying to me. So I want to be able to work on those issues around supporting the new immigrants, supporting the refugees that come to St. Paul, who, because of our housing stock, oftentimes their first stop in St. Paul is the East Side.
Hang out my door, and you have 30 seconds to persuade me. You ready?
Ready. I'm John Harrington. I'm running for the State Senate seat, District 67. I'm running because I've had 33 years of service for the East Side, and I want to be your state senator because I believe in immigration rights. I believe that young men and young women need jobs on the East Side so that they can live the American dream. And because I want every young woman and every woman that lives on the East Side to be able to walk without fear of domestic violence or sexual assault or child abuse. I'm running for state senate because I believe that my values and the DFL values are in sync, and I want your support.